Hi everyone. Thought we would do a bit more behind the scenes info about the latest RHS show that we did, where you may have already seen we won a gold medal. Whoop whoop. Very, very happy about that, especially as it was our first full marquee display. So I have the star of the show with me, and I thought
Plants were the star of the show.
I thought I'd get his take um, on some kind of key questions about what was going on at the show. So, what would you say, apart from the obvious winning the medal, what was the highlight of the show for you?
Um, Almost everybody, well, actually everybody that saw the display assumed that it was an award-winning display. So they didn't. They were commenting about it being looking award-winning without even realizing that we had the display certificate on.
Oh yeah.
Because we didn't have a little plaque to put it in, so we were just tucked away on the side.
Uh,
So they were all like, every single one of them came up and said, your display is fantastic. We've never seen anything like this before."
why? Because it was Chili's, or because it was like really neat, or
Because it was Chili's, because it was neat. All the information boards, everybody said the information boards were really interesting. They learned a lot. They loved the fact that we had a little microscope with the predators and
yeah, that
stuff
was
like
a
that.
cool touch.
Yeah, everybody was really, really complimentary. I think more so than some of the other displays that received gold, because we've seen clematis, we've seen roses, we've seen all those things year
Yeah,
on
it
year.
still was had a bit of a difference,
I mean,
didn't
there
it?
were 2 bonsai displays, there were 4 hosta displays,
Yeah,
2 roses. It gets a little bit not boring but repetitive.
yeah,
And then suddenly they saw chilies and they weren't expecting to see that. And actually, some of them were even thinking that this was something that was done multiple times before. They didn't realize it was breaking new ground.
mm. And what was the biggest challenge of the show?
Of the show, or just generally?
What
Of the show
of
is
the event?
making sure there's no aphids on the plants.
Yeah,
It's aphids is always the constant battle.
we were like primping and preening every single leaf and flower, weren't we? Before that was
Yeah.
an interesting job. Um, what feedback did the judges give you after they gave you your gold medal?
We got full gold with no negative feedback at all. 100% points in every category.
Blimey. Any constructive feedback for next time?
1 constructive feedback and 1 personal feedback. So
Okay.
the 1 constructive one is they thought it would have been good to have the Scoville heat units on the individual plant names. That was intentional on my part, because it was just going to make, if I had included that, it would have made it a little bit small. To include on the size of the label, it means that it would have been small to read from far away, and it would have reduced the size of the plant name for people to read. So if you had Carolina Reaper up there, for example, they wanted Carolina Reaper below that 1.6 million Scoville.
So we had the Scovilles on the
Poster.
display label, but
Yeah, on
not
the
on the
display. Yeah,
individual
and each
plant
sale
label.
label had the heat rating, but they thought it would have been nice. But it wasn't marked down because of it,
Right.
because we had it elsewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And I intentionally didn't include it because of the size restrictions on the labels.
Yeah, there's a lot of info to fit in.
I'll just rejig that next time we do it.
And what was the personal feedback?
Personal feedback is one of the judge was hoping to have seen Apache chili. Now Apache, yes, it tastes good and everything, but it's boring. Gardeners World talked about Apache many years ago, and everybody's still banging on about it. And there's dozens of varieties which taste as good and do the same thing as Apache.
Which species is that?
It's an annum, but it's just like Chaa or Thai hot.
So yeah, we had loads of annums.
Lots of small bushy ones that have.
Well covered.
Yeah, yeah. So he was just. I was expecting to see Apache there because it's my favorite.
Like, well, good job we didn't get marked down for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he could. It was had things to say.
Yeah, exactly.
So what would you do differently next time, if anything?
Look after the plants even more closely in the grow tent so that aphids don't creep up on you, because there are corners of the grow tent where you just don't access and see regularly, and that's where they set in.
So do you think we should put less plants in there?
No, the number of plants in the grow tent, everything like that, we can do again.
Right.
It's fine. It's just we assume that there's no aphids in there. I think it needs to be a weekly or every 2 weeks process of taking each plant out, looking around it, putting it back in.
And that's serious effort goes into that though, because we've been doing that since like October.
Yeah, but then we said it was we had to deal with aphid problems rather than, which became more challenging. So if every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks you sort of go in there, take each plant out, put it on a table, look at it, If you see an aphid colony, pinch them out,
Yeah.
done, put it back in. Whereas waiting to see aphids appear on the visible parts of the plant that you can see without having to take the plant out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just, yeah, there's no getting around that. There's nothing you can do about that. That is part of life with the
Yeah,
plants in a grow tent.
100%. Well, and the fact that there was aphids meant we could do that microscope display where we showed the mummified ones that had been eaten by the
Yeah.
parasitic wasps, which got really good feedback, didn't it?
Yeah.
So, swings and roundabouts.
Exactly.
What was the most popular chili with the customers on the days of the show?
Chaa was a good one.
Yeah.
We sold loads of Chaa. Almost sold out on that.
We had one on the stand that looked
one
really
of those
good.
was on the stand. It looked really attractive. It was like the perfect specimen of a Chaa.
Yeah.
It looked really good. Somebody bought it at the end of the show.
Oh, really?
They bought a specimen plant. So we sold off as many as we could.
Yeah.
That one, sugar or stripey.
That one also looks really good on the stand,
good.
so that makes sense as well. Had loads of fruit on it, and that's the one with stripy fruit, so it looked really cool.
Based on what they saw, then it was a mix of everything. Nobody wanted tepin, but I was just there because of horticultural interest rather than...
Yeah, because tepin's like as close as you can get to the original wild chili,
it's like one of those. The plant is very big. It doesn't produce a huge amount.
And really small little berry kind of fruits.
But we included it for horticultural interest rather than...
Yeah.
So we were giving away tepin plugs at the end.
And why is exhibiting at the RHS important for us at the Chili Farm?
Because it shows to our customers that we produce chili plants at the highest level of horticultural expertise, because nobody else is doing it. You can go to a big box store, garden center, and buy a Scotch bonnet with a label in the side of the pot, and you've got no guarantee and probably a reasonably high chance that it will not be what you expect it to be, because that's just coming in from imported from somewhere in Europe.
Yeah. Big
mass manufactured plants. Nobody knows who the seeds came from originally, none of those things. So we have full traceability on everything we sell. So lots of people actually come over saying, why is my Scotch bonnet not as hot as it should be? And you ask them, where'd you get it? Well, I bought it from a certain hardware store that has letters of the alphabet and an ampersand sign in it. And he said, well, that's your problem. We can't fix the fact that your Scotch bonnet is not as hot when you've bought it from a garden centre.
So it probably isn't a pure Scotch bonnet.
It's not a Scotch bonnet, yeah. It's some other random thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oftentimes they're just called red chili or yellow chili.
Yeah, we have people coming up and asking us for...
to be anything.
So people coming up and asking, do you have any red chilies? Do you have any finger chilies? I don't know what these are. And they're like, oh, because I bought it from Tesco.
Yeah.
I can't help you. I can give you really good ones, but I can't give you the exact thing that you bought from a big box store. We can give you better ones.
And so now you're back. The show is done. What is next on the agenda for the horticulture team?
Emptying the van.
You've done that this morning?
No, yeah. So it is... all the crops that are in the ground needs to be looked after now because Phil is back. We need to put on a lot more plants for customers who are waiting on pre-orders and stuff.
Yeah, we've still got pre-orders going out the door.
Pre-orders going out the door. It's a constant potting on, getting them grown on, then boxed up and sent out. That's continuous.
Yeah.
Getting on top of the weeding in the crop tunnels. Potting on some of the key seed varieties that we're going to do. Yeah, we've got a lot of new varieties we're collecting seed from this year, so watch this space for those. Maybe a bit of cross-pollination if I can fit it in. Some new varieties we want to try and come up with. Yeah. Start that process again. And figure out what to do with the big specimen plants that came back from the show. How many came back? Quite a few, actually. Okay. The giant reaper, the ricotta. I don't think we're going to sell the ricotta. We'll keep that. The mini olive ricotta. Okay, we'll keep that in the nursery as a display plant. Oh, maybe you need to put them in the show tunnel. The show tunnel's already planted up. There's no space. So it's going to be figure out what to do with it without getting rid of them and maybe selling the ones that are still looking okay from the transport back down. So if you're looking for a showstopper specimen from the RHS, come on down. There'll be some around the nursery shop, I'm sure. Yeah, there'll be some. There's a poor jalapeno that's massive that always just was on its side the whole time. We didn't use that one in the end. It was a bit lopsided, wasn't it? Yeah, but it's covered in fruit. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, don't know what to do with it. Good problem to have. It is indeed. Any other last thoughts about RHS Malvern 2025? No, it was good. Um, just trying to think. There were lots of small little fiddly things, but I think it went
A
well.
lot of complicated logistics as well
Yeah,
will be the other learning point for me. There's Luton vans going back and forth. There was a transit. Our van. There was Amrit in his car. There was me in my car at times. It was pretty hectic.
yeah. There's a lot.
And it's only 3 hours up the road from us. So if we do any RHS shows further afield, we're going to have to think even more carefully about logistics because it's not as easy to go back and forth. So yeah, logistics is definitely a challenge with these kind of shows, just because the amount of stuff you've got to take with you. But we
Yeah.
had everything we needed, didn't we, when we were
Yeah.
doing the
So
stand
what
setup?
that is because I spent days with a spreadsheet of
Yeah,
lists with every single thing down to the last biro and paperclip,
exactly.
multiple different types of tape.
But it worked, what
Yeah.
you did. So
Yeah, yeah,
good.
that's how you do it. You speak to any of the other exhibitors who've been doing it for years, and that is what they do.
Yeah.
It's preparation, preparation, preparation.
And all the exhibitors are so nice to each other. Like, everyone's really helpful, aren't they?
Yeah,
If you didn't have something that you needed, you could beg, borrow, or sometimes people come up to us and ask to borrow something, and everyone kind of
yeah.
helps
So
each other out. So it's really
yeah, so
nice atmosphere.
it's good in that way, and everybody's there to have a good display and then make some money
Mm,
and go home.
yeah.
Yeah,
Good. All right.
yeah, it
Well,
was really good. Happy with that.
congratulations
We'll put
to the
that.
A team.
We're gonna put that first proper gold, I'd say,
Yeah.
for a marquee gold up in the shop to go alongside the two slightly
I think we've got to
smaller
get some
gold.
photos printed and do like a storyboard or something
Yeah,
in
we
there.
do some of that and get some branded up clothing as well, because that's what I know some of the other people have. They've got polos and fleeces and stuff with RHS Gold Malvern
We need to
2025.
get some of those for Phil and Izzy. That is for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Well, congratulations.
I know. Congrats to everybody and the team. Yeah,
We've got to take a moment to reflect on these things because it's always 100 miles an hour here. So as soon as you get something under your belt, you just crack on to the next thing.
yeah.
But we need to remember to congratulate and appreciate when it happens.
Indeed. Yeah. Achieved. Move on. Tick now. Next thing.
Chelsea, watch this space. Chelsea flower shows. Chilli's
Yeah.
stall coming soon.